Peace be upon you. Thank you for the comments and support in the last videos. Now to the topic. The Apollo 11 moon landing is one of the most celebrated events in human history. On July 20th, 1969, millions of people watched Neil Armstrong to become the first human to set foot on the lunar surface. Yet despite the enormous evidence supporting this achievement, the mission remains surrounded by mysteries, doubts, and conspiracy theories. To understand why, we must revisit the extraordinary journey that led humanity to the moon. It all began during the Cold War era, a time when the United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a fierce geopolitical competition. The Soviet Union struck the first blow by launching Sputnik 1 in 1957, the world's first artificial satellite. 4 years later, they start the world again, when Yuri Gagarin became the first human to travel to space. Feeling the pressure, the United States urgently needed to prove its technological superiority. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy announced the bold national goal. America would land a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth before the decade ended. This decision led to the birth of the Apollo program. NASA grew into one of the largest scientific enterprises in history, involving more than 400,000 scientists, engineers, and workers, and over 20,000 companies and institutions. Engineers designed the Saturn V, a rocket taller than a 30-story building and still the most powerful rocket ever flown successfully. Astronauts trained rigorously, simulating moonwalks underwater and navigation through complex computer systems and mastering the controls of the lunar module under stressful conditions. All this effort culminated in Apollo 11, launched on July 16, 1969. The crew consisted of Commander Neil Armstrong, Lunar Module Pilot Buzz Aldrin, and Command Module Pilot Michael Collins. After reaching Earth orbit, the spacecraft fired its engines to begin a 3-day journey to the moon. Upon arrival, Armstrong and Aldrin entered the lunar module, nicknamed Eagle, while Collins remained in orbit. This made Collins briefly the most isolated human in history, completely out of radio contact with Earth for parts of each orbit. The landing itself was tense. As the Eagle descended, its computer began flashing unexpected alarms. The intended landing site was covered with large rocks, forcing Armstrong to take manual control. With only seconds of fuel remaining, he found a safe spot and landed. His calm transmission, "The Eagle has landed," was the moment the world held its breath. A few hours later, Armstrong climbed down the ladder and became the first human to walk on another world. Aldrin joined him shortly after. Together, they spent over 2.5 hours outside the spacecraft, collecting 21.6 kilograms of lunar rocks, taking photographs, and setting up scientific equipment. Some of these devices, such as the laser ranging retroreflector, are still functioning today and continue to provide valuable data. Despite the mission's success and the overwhelming evidence supporting it, the moon landing became one of the most debated events in history. Several conspiracy theories emerged, claiming the moon landing was filmed in a studio. One common claim argues that there are no stars visible in the photographs. In reality, the cameras used fast exposure settings because of the bright lunar surface, making stars too faint to appear. Another claim points to the American flag appearing to wave, but in the vacuum of space, without air resistance, any movement caused by the astronauts would make the fabric move briefly in a stiff, ripple-like manner. Some people question the shadows seen in photographs, which appear to fall in different directions. This is caused by the uneven terrain of the lunar surface and the wide-angled lenses in the cameras, not artificial studio lights. Others ask why humans haven't returned to the moon recently. In truth, NASA carried out 6 successful lunar landings between 1969 and 1972. After that, funding was cut as the political motivation of the Cold War weakened. The evidence of the moon landing is overwhelming. The reflectors on the surface still return laser pulses. The Soviets, America's rivals, tracked Apollo 11 independently and confirmed its authenticity. Lunar rocks brought back by the astronauts have unique chemical and isotopic signatures that cannot be found on Earth. Missions from Japan, India, and China have photographed the Apollo landing sites from orbit, revealing equipment, tracks, and even footprints left behind. So, why do moon landing conspiracies remain popular? Psychologists suggest that people often doubt extraordinary achievements because they feel too monumental to be real. Conspiracies also thrive when trust in institutions is low and when individuals try to find explanations for complex scientific efforts. Yet the truth remains Apollo 11 was not a hoax, it was the result of immense human effort, scientific innovations, and global cooperation. When Neil Armstrong stepped onto the lunar surface, it symbolized much more than national pride. It marked the moment humanity proved that the impossible could become possible. If you like this, subscribe and comment down your thoughts and stay curious, stay informed.